Hi, Dr. Bridget here with another prescription for success, and this one's called How Does Labelling Yourself Affect Your Results? So labelling's really interesting, isn't it? And we have to label things so that we can cope with the vast amount of information that comes in. So I'm sitting on a piece of decking, there's a camera actually recording me, and there's a videographer behind that, where those are labels. But sometimes we give ourselves labels that aren't particularly helpful. And I was working with someone recently who's got a really successful business and was doing really well. His dad had worked really hard when he was little, and he was determined to work as hard as he could to just make people proud of him. And he worked and worked, and we did a little bit of work, and it made a big difference. In the end, he was so determined, he labelled himself as an A person. You know, the old sort of label where you're striving for things and you usually end up with heart attacks and things, as opposed to a B person who's fairly laid back and takes life as it comes. So he labelled himself as an A person, and therefore his behaviour went with that. And just a short while ago, he was going forward and he just sort of hit a brick wall, hit the blocks, fell over, whatever you want to call it. And he spent 6 weeks in bed. Pretty upsetting, you know, upsetting for his wife, upsetting for other people around him to see that. Interestingly, his business actually grew more when he was off sick in bed than when he was actually running it, which was really interesting for him. So it turned out when we did a session that he got a bit of a conflict going on, because sort of part of him wanted to be this A person where everyone was proud of him and have a really successful business, and part of him wanted to be a laid-back, chilled person. He'd just got a new puppy, had a loving family, and wanted to get time out on his bike and relax. And there was this sort of total conflict going on in his mind all the time, and it was just getting bigger and bigger. And what happened is that his unconscious mind just said, oh, you need a rest, this isn't going to go on for any longer, and put him in bed. He'd seen numerous doctors before, and they put it down as a post-viral illness. But the reality is that he just got burnt out, and he had some physical symptoms as a result of it. And his reality was that there was a whole lot of dark stuff going on in his mind. He could only really look at the ceiling, and it was just generally very uncomfortable, and he couldn't even name what that feeling was. And after a long discussion, we decided that his unconscious mind and this dark thing was actually there to protect him and to sort of push him towards being more of a B person. So we did some work. He renamed his that bit of his unconscious mind as Mojo, and he's now riding around on his bike, back at work and in great health. So, you know, this conflict that you can get where part of you wants something and part of you wants the other, and it's all to do with the labelling of himself as well. And what happened is we just put those two bits of his mind together and just took them inside, and now he feels absolutely fine about being either A or B. He can choose. So first thing I want to say to you is, make sure you don't hit the brick wall. If you do, give me a shout, because it's easily sorted. And B, let's get you some balance in your life so that you can do whatever you want and achieve what you want, because the reality was his business was actually going just as well without him, and it certainly changed his perspective on a lot of things. So I just thought I'd share that with you today, and just take care of yourself, and I shall see you next week. Bye.